One bar was telling us basically they're not going to serve it because they don't like the way Dylan Mulvaney was treated after this whole controversy started. He, of course, is the transgender person they were going to sponsor and go along with Bud Light. They didn't like how Bud Light didn't stand by him after all this.
All right, have you guys seen this story? So CNN is under fire for misgendering Dylan Mulvaney, and it is hilarious to watch the left sometimes eat their own. Check this story out. So this guy, he's a CNN correspondent. He's doing a story on the Bud Light sales drop. So Bud Light sales dropped 28% after the Dylan Mulvaney backlash. It's insane. 28% is a lot. So, what have you. But now, during that segment, at the end of segments, they, ask you your opinion or give us a little bit more, and, they go back and forth. He misgendered Dylan Mulvaney twice. So what I'm going to do now, so we can all be on the same page, I'm going to play that segment for you, and I want you to listen to it and let me know what you think about it. Check this out.
All right, let's go to this. More fallout from the Bud Light boycott. Sales dropped by more than 28% over the last 4 weeks. It follows a backlash after the brand partnered with a transgender influencer, and now Bud Light is getting more pushback, this time from the LGBTQ community as well. Let's get to Brian Young. He's following all this. Ryan, this seems to be the controversy that just won't quit. What now?
Yeah, we are talking a lot these days, it seems like, about culture wars. I mean, just that last conversation you and Sarah were having kind of ducktails all into this because everyone seems to be taking sides over everything. And it really got to the point where we went out to the streets to talk to people just to get their ideas about how much confusion and how much anger has been caused by this Bud Light controversy. Just listen to the people on the street who were sort of upset that this has gotten taken so far out of hand.
It's quite simple. People just don't want it shoved down their throat.
No Bud Light, because it's like I have grandchildren. We don't need to put that in the young kids' heads.
We had one guy who said, I refuse to drink that anymore. One guy. And everybody else in the bar kind of rolled their eyes at him.
Yeah, America is really split on a lot of topics, whether it comes to voting, but this Bud Light really seems to send a chasm right down the middle in terms of talking to folks. We went to Nashville. We even talked to a bar in Chicago. One bar was telling us basically they're not going to serve it because they don't like the way Dylan Mulvaney was treated after this whole controversy started. He, of course, is the transgender person they were going to sponsor and go along with Bud Light. They didn't like how Bud Light didn't stand by him after all this. Of course, you have Kid Rock, who said that he would not serve Bud Light in his bar. He shot up a case of Bud Light. At this point, though, Kate, we went back to that bar a couple days ago. Bud Light's being served again. But now we're starting to see those sales have really dropped off more than 28%.
Ryan, it's really interesting and great that you got the temperature from people you're talking to. It's one of
the culture war.
It's something.
It's the culture wars.
It's a tough time.
Yeah, it is.
Tough time.
Ryan Young, it was a great story. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us.
So now people are calling for this guy to be fired because he accidentally misgendered Dylan Mulvaney. He's with the New York Post wrote, CNN is under fire for misgendering Dylan Mulvaney as he and him in a segment about the culture war being waged over the transgender influencers partnership with Bud Light. Correspondent Ryan Young failed to use the 26-year-old influencer's preferred pronouns in a short segment about the backlash against the beer giant that has led to plummeting sales. Young also mispronounced Mulvaney's first name as, was it Delvon? While describing the social media star to CNN News Central viewers Tuesday. He, of course, is a transgendered person that they were going to sponsor and go along with Bud Light, Young said, using he instead of Mulvaney's preferred she. But trans activists didn't like how Bud Light didn't stand by him. Again, another mistake. After all this, Young said, again, failing to use the influence preferred they. Now, you know what this reminds me of? Remember that singer Demi Lovato? Demi Lovato, she tried this. So remember, she was like, don't call me she, call me them, they. So people were like, okay, we're going to use your preferred pronouns. And then it became like so damn confusing. And then she had to go back and she's like, okay. That them, they crap. It didn't work. Call me she. Let's just keep it simple. I'm a woman. So they even get confused. Now I feel it's crazy because when we get confused, you know, they're writing newspaper articles about it. Oh my God, this guy got confused. He should be fired. When they get confused and change back and forth, like, you know, it's like it's underwear. It's like we're supposed to automatically be up on their preferred pronouns. What? Now, they also go on to say neither Young nor the host, Kate Boldon, whom he was talking to at the time, corrected the misgendering, finding themselves part of the very Bud Light backlash they were reporting on. Now, you know what this reminds me of with this pronoun thing? I used to love the Boondocks, and there's a clip of a pimp named Slickback. Now, this is somebody who just wanted to, he's like, you know, my name is a pimp named Slickback. And then the father was like, you know, he was like, I'm gonna just call you Slickback. He was like, no. My name is a pimp named Slickback. You gotta say the whole thing. Matter of fact, here's that clip.
Bitch, I hope you got the monies to cover this little vacation you've been taking.
Now hold up, Slickback.
No, that's a pimp named Slickback.
That's what I said, Slickback.
No, it's a pimp named Slickback, like a Tribe Called Quest. You say the whole thing. A pimp named Slickback.
Can we call you Slickback for short?
No, I'm a pimp named Slickback.
This is what that reminds me of, right? Now, listen, people, I'm not going to be the person who's going to tell these people that I'm not going to call you what you want, right? If you come to me and say, hey, listen, I would prefer you to call me she, even though I look like a he, or you call me a he, even though I look like a she, I'm going to do it out of respect, right? Out of respect. I'll give you that. But I'm going to also need you to understand that this is awkward and it's going to take some time for me to adjust to it so we can all be on the same page. Now, you know, I may make a couple of mistakes, but when I make a mistake with it, you shouldn't be willing to take my head off. Now, even in this CNN interview, right? This is one of the wokest places on the planet. And they didn't even realize the mistake had been made. No matter what people say, people are gonna be like, oh, this has been happening for years. It hasn't been happening since we were all children. All of these people, remember, this pronoun thing is pretty much what, something that's 10, 15 years old. So people are still adjusting to it. And 99% of the time in your normal life, you're using pronouns, not asking somebody what their preferred pronoun is, right? When you go to the gas station and you see someone and you say he, hey, he, she, you're 99.9% of the time you're gonna be right. It's that 0.0001% of the time where someone says, call me they, then that's when you're gonna have the issue. Now, should this reporter had been more careful? Probably, but this isn't a fireable offense. You know, they're trying to make it as if you make any mistake, it's you're being transphobic. And that's just not the case. And I don't think this guy's being transphobic at all. I don't think this guy meant any harm. And I think now if he can go back, he would have probably used the proper pronoun, what Dylan Mulvaney would have liked to be called. But at this point in time, the backlash is going to be, well, you know, people are going to say, well, why should we call him or she or her? Why should we do that, right? What happened to my freedom to say what the hell I want to say, to call whoever I want, whatever I want? And that's why I think sometimes it's not about what happens, but it's about the response to it. Right? This could have been an easy, hey, you should have missed, next time just be careful because Dylan Mulvaney goes by she. Okay, cool, no problem. But now to have this outrage about CNN because of a 2-minute clip, this is what people are pushing. People aren't pushing back on the transgender movement. They're pushing back on these absurdities that people can't make mistakes, especially when you're introducing them to new concepts and new ways. People will make mistakes. And if you can't understand that, then that's when this movement will never move forward. It'll always have this amount of pushback. And that's what Bud Light's going about, right? Because again, like I said, if you want to be called whatever, I'm going to do it. So the article goes on to say neither Young or Bourdain nor CNN News Central addressed the backlash, and CNN did not immediately return requests for comment early Wednesday. So that is the end of it. Mulvaney, who left the U.S. to travel to Peru over safety fears, sparked the Bud backlash. Also does not appear to have commented on it. What is it to comment on? What is there really to comment on? You know, somebody doing a hot segment on CNN, he made a mistake. Okay, he's learned from it, and I think he probably wouldn't do it again when it comes to Dylan Mulvaney. The next day, CNN went on air and issued this apology.
Before we wrap up today, we do want to make an important note. Yesterday, in a segment about transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney, who was featured in Bud Light's recent campaign, she was mistakenly referred to by the wrong pronoun. And CNN aims to honor individuals' ways of identifying themselves, and we apologize for that error.
Let me know what you think in the comment section. Don't get me wrong. I know that a lot of you are probably going to say, I'm not going to call him or she. I'm not going to get involved in their mental illness and all this other stuff. But I do think there's middle ground here. And the middle ground that I always take is that be respectful. And if you tell me your name is a pimp named Slickback, I'm going to call you a pimp named Slickback. But again, it's all within reason. Let me know where I'm wrong in the comment section. My name is Nate the Lawyer, and I'll see you next time. Peace.